大家好，欢迎观看 You the Mandarin。今天我要告诉你怎么做西红柿鸡蛋。Alright, everybody. Today, what I want to do is show you how to make tomato egg, which is what it's directly translated as. But it's basically bachelor food for Chinese people. It's probably the first thing that they learn how to cook. So what I'm going to do is show you how it's made. My style is a little bit different from some people's, but it's modified, basically it's how I like it. So I'll teach you some different cooking terms and how to make the dish, and that'll be it for today. So there are two names for tomato in Chinese. They are 西红柿, 西红柿, and you can also call it 番茄. It really just depends on what part of China you're in. They're the same thing. So the reason it's called tomato egg is because there's tomatoes and eggs in it. And so egg, nice and easy, is 鸡, which is chicken, 蛋. 蛋 is egg. But as with most nouns in Chinese, it's actually, you need a pair. So 鸡 is chicken, 蛋, egg. If it's a duck egg, you'd call it 鸭蛋. Nice and easy. So I have 3 eggs here, and I'm just going to crack these into a bowl or into the sink. And these eggs have been left out at room temperature, so they're going to be very easy to cook. I'm not saying very long, I'm just saying so that they're not cold anymore. So just crack them into the bowl. Take some salt here. As much as you think is important. If you look at Chinese recipes, most of the time next to quantities, they don't actually have an amount. It just says 适量, which just means a suitable amount. And you really just have to have an idea of what you think is suitable. So I've got my eggs and my salt in here. I'm going to add a little bit of, this is 香油 or 芝麻油, which is sesame oil. Super common in Chinese kitchens, gotta have it. Lovely. And I'm just going to add 适量, a little bit. I'm going to call that good. I like to add the oil to the eggs with the salt because when I go and I stir fry them, and I'm going to do that on very high heat, it keeps a lot of the flavor inside of the eggs. So in the final dish, when you bite into it, it's just like an explosion of flavor. Chopsticks for beating eggs, best thing since sliced bread. Maybe better, because sliced bread is lousy. And just beat the tar out of it. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to beat it until it shreds apart, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. So when it doesn't cling to the chopsticks anymore, you're good to go. Probably. I've already sliced up the tomatoes here, the 西红柿 or 番茄. I've already sliced these up. They don't have to be pretty. They're going into a hot wok. You're not going to see them much anyway. And also I've got prepared some slices of jiang, which is ginger. Jiang is super important in Chinese cooking as well. I live on it. And these are just in thin slices so that if you don't like them, you can take them out. If you do like them, you know where they are. If you mince them up too much, when people bite into them and they didn't expect to bite into ginger, sometimes people will call down curses upon your head. You don't want that. So jiang, wonderful thing. It's good for your health as well. Another super important thing, 铲子. So this spatula, which mine is made out of wood, and you can actually see there's a thin part right here. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Anyhow, 铲子, same word as shovel. Super important for Chinese cooking, and this here is a wok. Now, wok actually comes from the Cantonese word for 锅. 锅 means pot. So in Mandarin Chinese, this is called a 炒锅. 炒 is the most common kind of cooking in Chinese, and it means stir fry. So that's 炒, which is basically this action, and then 锅, which is basically this pot right here. It can be any pot, but whatever. So just like with 鸡蛋, where you have a pair of words, this is another pair. So 炒锅, stir-frying pot. Whereas a pot for steaming might be 蒸锅. So now what we're going to do is crank up the heat, and I'm going to get the pot really hot before I put anything else into it. So I'm cooking with gas. That's what I prefer because I like high heat cooking. If you've got electric, then fine, that's your business. I'll never be converted though. Please do be aware that I've got everything prepared because once you get cooking, this is going to go so fast. You don't want to be cutting things. You don't want to be messing around with things. You just want to be able to go. So I'm just going to wait until I can feel that this pot is hot. Now, I've made this so many times, I have an intuition on how hot the pot is. If you don't, then just take a little bit of water and throw it in there. Listen to the sound. If it sounds really aggressive, great. This is still too cool, in my opinion. Then we're going to use 油. So 油 is just a generic term for oil, but you don't need a pair for this one unless you're trying to tell people specifically what kind of oil you use. Most of the time people just say 油. And I will say, please make sure that you're using a high smoke point oil because a lot of Chinese cooking is very hot. If you use a low smoke point oil, it's going to taste kind of bitter and also, be carcinogenic. High smoke point, this is canola. So now that the pot is nice and hot, I'm going to put in quite a bit of oil. You can't really see it, but I'm going to swirl it around and make sure it gets nice and hot in the pot. Move my chanzi out of the way. And what I'm looking for now is for the oil to shimmer. So when it starts to move very quickly and I can see it kind of ripple and maybe even start to smoke a little bit, then I'm going to put my eggs in. And at that point it moves really fast. All right, here we go. You can see how it's fluffing up here very easily. If you don't want to go through this whole process and you want something real easy, I tell you what, these kind of eggs, fresh, warm, white rice, put this on top, put some honey on top, boom, breakfast is sorted. Take another look here. So we're going for nice fluffy eggs. Once they've been cooked through, you can pull them off to the side and we go to the next stage, which is the tomatoes. So I'm not cleaning the 炒锅 out at all. I'm just going to put the tomatoes straight in. For this part, we're going to turn down the heat a little bit because we don't want all of the juice from the tomatoes to evaporate off. We want to keep it in there. And what we're going to try and do is encourage the tomatoes to let go of their juice some. So I'm going to add a little bit of salt. And then we're just going to wait for that heat to get into the tomatoes. And in with the tomatoes go the ginger slices. So we're looking for the tomatoes to cook down a bit. Once they've done that, you can add a little bit of water if they don't put out a whole lot of juice, but you're looking for about this amount of juice. And once the juices come out, just add the eggs. So now I'm just going to plate it up here. I'm going to put some nice warm white rice down here, put the 番茄鸡蛋 on top, and then just sprinkle some green onions on there because I think it looks nice. And it's scrumptious. And yes, it's really that easy. So if you excuse me, I'm going to give this a bite here and see how we did. Get some of that rice on there, a little piece of egg. Don't mind if a little ginger gets on there myself. Yes, Lord. So I suggest you give it a try. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment area down below, and I'm going to polish this off. But I look forward to seeing you next time on You to Mandarin. And once again, the vocab is after the credits. 再见.